We're live, Mr. Wade. Are you, sir?
Good night. Good night to our Belizeans, brothers and sisters, both at home and abroad, and those who watch us, and tune in to us. Pleasant good night in the nation of Belize. And wherever you at, we are part of the world, maybe is a still in the daytime and the afternoon, in the evening. So say hi, and we're here again once more to bring you sequence of events, what's going on in the nation. A lot going on, and just for clarity, our chairman for tonight, Mr. Gregory Brackett. Oh, okay. Okay, I was just gonna sit here a little bit for you, Greg, for tonight there, Mr. Chairman, but thank you for showing up. Thank you, my brother.
Thank
And
you, Mr. Wade.
Good night, Greg.
and
Good
I
night,
graciously,
Night,
my
Mr.
hey
good
Chairman.
person.
Greg, I graciously pass the show over to you, my brother. We haven't done the prayer nor the reading, so I pass your show over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. It's always a pleasure sitting with you guys virtually here on Belizean Affairs. I want to say good night to you, the people at home and abroad, welcoming you to this, our 351st edition of Belizean Affairs. Gentlemen, let's get straight into it. I go to you first, Mr. Wade, for reading, followed by
uh,
yeah.
Go to Leonard for a prayer. Greg, please, Mr. Chairman, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll just bow my head, Mr. Chairman, and do a short prayer, sir. Uh, Divine loving Father, once again we come before thy presence, asking that thou would hear our supplication, that thou would have mercy upon us, that thou would bless our family members, friends, and loved ones, each and every one of them, as if they were all named and numbered. We pray that thou must continue to bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership, and Belizeans at home and abroad. We pray that thou must bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership as well. And in a special way, we pray that thou must bless the rest of humanity, loving Father, especially those people who are in war areas, those who are in tornado areas, those who are in hurricane areas, and flooding areas, and earthquake and volcano, and all manner of disasters, loving Father. We pray that thou must bless this program tonight, that whatever we have to say, may it accrue to the well being and benefit and health and success of our country. That whatever we have to say, even if we have to say things that sometimes are not uh, too nice, give us the words and the wisdom and the knowledge, the understanding, the endurance, the perseverance, and the fortitude to be able to speak those words to powers if need be. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Are you back, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Brackett, Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome,
I'll
sir.
go straight. Leonard, thanks for that warm prayer there, my brother.
You're welcome, sir.
The country and the world needs prayer. Mr. Chairman, I want
Mhm.
to do a reading from Hosea chapter 9, 1 to 10, and it reads, Rejoice not, O Israel, exalt not
Thyself.
like the people,
Mhm.
for you have played the whore, forsaken your God. You have loved a prostitute wages on all floors, threshing floors and wine vat shall not feed them, and the new wine shall fail them. They shall not remain in the land of the Lord, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt, and they shall eat unclean food in Assyria. They shall not pour drinks offerings of wine to the Lord, and their sacrifice shall not please him. It shall be like mourners' bread to them. All who eat of it shall be defiled, for their bread shall be for their hunger only. It shall not come to the house of the Lord. What will you do on the day of the appointed festival, and on the day of the feast of the Lord? For behold, they are going away from destruction, but Egypt shall gather them. Memphis shall bury them. Netless shall possess their precious things of silver. Thorns shall be in their tents. The days of punishment have come. The days of recompense have come. In real shall know it. The people is a fool. The man of the spirit is mad. Because of your great iniquity, the great hatred, the prophet is the watchman of Ephraim with my God. Yet a fowler's snare is on all the way his ways. The hatred in the house of his God. They have deeply corrupted themselves as in the days of Gibeah. He will remember their iniquities, he will punish their sins. Like grapes in the wilderness, I found Israel. Like the first fruit, the fig tree in its season, I saw your father, but they came to Baal Peor and consecrated themselves to the things of shame and became detestable like the things they love. That's my reading, Mr. Chairman, from Hosea, chapter 9, 1
Uh,
to 10. Back to you, dear Mr.
Mr. Wade,
Yes,
that, that
Leonard.
that reading that you read there just now is about uh, the people of Israel becoming an abomination unto God because of their iniquity and their misbehavior. No?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir. And
it happened in those days way back then, and it
it's
does happen
happening
in
now.
modern days today too as well. So we can see that when they get the wrong leaders in place, the people suffer.
Amen to that, Leonard.
Thank you very much,
Back to you there, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman.
Thank you both, Mr. Wade, you for your reading, and Mr. Brackett, you for your prayers.
You're welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Tonight, I want to speak about our Constitution and why it is so important to us as Belizean. In 1981, when we got our independence, we also got our Constitution. Our Constitution was a parliamentary democratic constitution which gives the people of this country the hands of national security.
Mm-hmm.
But as we can see, that there is no separation of powers. The executive that is supposed to work by itself, the legislature branch which is supposed to work by itself,
Mm-hmm.
and the judiciary is not working in the separation of powers.
Mm-hmm.
And what we have here is an executive control
Overreach.
of or separation of powers in violation of our Constitution. It's important that we speak about this and try to educate our people tonight as Belizean because of the Budna's incident where he was kidnapped and he was handed over to Guatemala's by allegedly some police officers. And I will use that phrase even though most of us as Belizean has taken a look at the tape shown by Channel 7 News. But again,
Sorry.
speaking about executive powers, it is plain to see our legislators making informal amendment to our constitution, which is producing different laws for different individuals. We are not protected by Section 6 of our Constitution, which says that everyone should be equally protected under the law.
Mm-hmm.
And to help clarify this, I want to go to a tip.
Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a cornerstone of democracy, the separation of powers. This principle is fundamental to the functioning of a free and fair government, ensuring no single entity holds too much power. It divides government responsibilities into distinct branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. Let's understand how each plays its unique role. The legislative branch is responsible for making laws. In many democracies, this is split into two parts, often referred to as a bicameral legislature. For example, in the United States, Congress consists of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Lawmakers debate public policies and propose legislation intended to address the needs and rights of citizens. The executive branch enforces these laws. Headed by a president or prime minister, this branch implements the rules lawmakers create. The executive holds a variety of responsibilities, from foreign diplomacy to administering national defense and implementing federal programs. By managing these critical functions, the executive branch occupies the forefront of daily government operations. The judicial branch interprets the laws. It's composed of courts and judges who ensure laws are applied fairly and consistently. This branch acts as the guardian of the Constitution, assessing legal challenges and acting as a check on the powers of both the legislative and executive branches. An independent judiciary is crucial for maintaining the balance of power and protecting citizens' rights. These branches must collaborate, yet they are distinct in duties and powers. This separation prevents any single branch of government from becoming too powerful and encourages a system of checks and balances. It ensures that power is distributed and accountability is maintained. In conclusion, the separation of powers is essential for a functioning democracy. By keeping the legislative, executive, and judicial powers distinct, governments can effectively safeguard against tyranny, preserve liberty, and function more efficiently. If you enjoyed this explanation, Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below with your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more insight.
To our viewers at home and abroad, it's important for you to read and understand how important the separation of powers is. Belize is going through a crisis where executive power is taking over all branches. A prime example has to do with the abduction of Mr. Budna. As we can see, our Prime Minister is demanding that any investigative report should be turned over to him and not to the DPP, who is the entitled personnel and office that takes care of all criminal acts in our country. Mr. Wade, I want to go to you, but let me say this tonight to you, the Belizean people at home and abroad. I will show you why we must have separation of powers. Because when we have a country with a prime minister that is democratic, we expect our fundamental rights, section 2 through 19 of our constitution, with section 20 for judicial review, to take place whenever our civil liberties has been violated. And on tonight's show, I want to point out the reason for this is I want to show exactly how our Prime Minister and the Assistant Commissioner is lying, outright lying. And this is not just my belief. I am 100% sure. And that is why I'm saying it right here tonight. I don't believe we will get a fair or good outcome of this investigation. I go to you first, Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Um, you know, and thanks for showing that clip. And while some may say, well, the government uh, and the prime minister could do this and could do that, and he has the power to do that. I mean, Mr. Chairman, and my people at home and abroad, I have listened and I have to watch some comments from some individuals, which is, really makes me want to puke. Right? I'm not going to call name, but they know themselves, right? And they know that, what they had posted or what came out of their mouth was pure, nonsense, and trying to cover up for wrongdoing and trying to stay in line with their party. So I like to say this right here now. I am not a fanatic of a PUP. I am not a fanatic of a UDP. But what I'm a fanatic of is for upholding the law and for everyone to be equal under the law, like you rightfully showed that clip, Mr. Chairman. And that's what makes me verbal. And that's what makes me speak the way I speak. Because I have criticized the action of the former Prime Minister because he have done a hell of a lot of things contrary to our Constitution. Right? Just because he had that power and the little force behind him gave him that mandate and he think that he could do whatever he pleases. Worse so this guy, Johnny Briceño, right? The things that this guy have done, Mr. Chairman, and verbally, and his actions, right, makes you want to wonder where he is taking this country while he sits on this seat. And why is he violating our Constitution, Mr. Chairman? He keeps doing that time and then you have the minions behind him says that it's okay, right? Some even on the media has nothing much to say on some of the media houses and some other platforms. Do not denounce and call out this man for the things that he does and the things that he says, right? To me, I think that, you talk about separation of power there on that clip. Rightfully so. Is that been done in Belize? Hell no. Right? Because of the action of this present leader of this nation. Right? I have been a peace officer. And there is no way that what this man is demanding, that's what the Constitution says. No. Why do we have the courts? Why do we have a DPP? Why do we have a police commissioner? This man seems that he wants to run everything. So like you says, rightfully says, Mr. Chairman, there is no way, shape, and form that that report should filter through Johnny Briceño's hand. No way. But this should be a wake-up call for a lot of people. Again, to see what this man is doing. And I just hope and pray that one day somebody will hold this guy in check and have him persecuted. That's how I feel. Because I think that he's doing this country and the nation a disservice. Right? And to top it off, it seems that in this country, there is justice only for the rich, the powerful, and the politician. And there is no justice for the poor and less fortunate that cannot afford legal representation, although they have done nothing wrong. But still, they need legal representation. Who does that? What kind of a man does that call himself a man? Call himself a leader? Call himself love his people and love the nation? Who does that, Mr. Chairman? And the thing that hurts me is that's what we are paying for. That's exactly what we are paying for. Are we getting, is the nation and the people getting their fair share? Where they are investing in a leader? For what? So this man has no face, has no shame, and I think that he ought to be investigated, not by the Belize Police Department, by an outside entity. He should be called to check. Because on this Bodna situation, like you said there, Mr. Chairman, it's all going the wrong way for a wrong and illegal way and an illegal outcome to suit these thugs that did that to the gentleman, well, the guy, Mr. Bodna, right? So, like I say, I just hope and pray that sometime very soon that the whole Johnny Briseño and his followers, because he have aid and abetment. He have people who is helping him committing these acts of tyranny. That's all I got to say right now, Mr. Chairman. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That was very lucid and very appreciate presentation, Mr. Wade.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, sir, I would like to be able to read a small part of the PCC recommendations. I think I would like to go to comment the 60. Oh, too big. Okay, I need to go a little bit more.
Good night, Mr. Morrison.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening.
Good night there, Mr. Morrison. Glad to have you.
I found it, sir. Good night, Mr. Morrison.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you for gracing us again, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I would like to read the part under recommendation number 63 of the PCC recommendations to the Prime Minister, which for all intents and purposes, a lot of it came from the Prime Minister's guidance and input that was retorted back to him as part of that report. I'll just read here under where it says Part 5, the Executive. Recommendation number 63 reads as follows. It says, establishment of the executive authority. And before going further, I would like to say that the way this matter is written up and presented is as if to say the new executive is the way we should actually be perceiving it or pronouncing it or reading it or relate to it, because it is not addressing the former executive criteria. It is actually proposing new criteria for a new executive with new superpowers, powers that are far and beyond that of the Constitution of itself. When it's going to ask to allow the Prime Minister to act as the head of state and as well control and appoint the 5 members that they are proposing to be like what you'd call a constitutional court, who will reign supreme over our regular court, which under our present constitution and the separation of powers to which you alluded to, Mr. Chairman, earlier, the Prime Minister should have no such jurisdiction or authority or control. Let me just go, let me see. Oh, it's kind of long. Okay. I have to make it a little smaller just so it can fit on the screen, no? It says, repeal Section 36, subsection 1 of the Constitution of Belize as currently applied, and replace with the executive authority of Belize is vested in the Prime Minister. Now, under Section 36 of our current Constitution, it says the executive authority of Belize is vested in the head of state. And the head of state, that being previously Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, and because of her death now, her son Charles now being the head of state for Belize and all the Commonwealth countries, including England. So when I stipulated many a times before that the intent to want to tamper with our current constitution was actually to accrue powers unto themselves, which is to commit sedition, have the general public, the plebiscite, assist in the seditious activities, to so-called take the powers from the executive and give it to this new empowered prime minister, who then would act in the capacity of executive, maximum executive. It goes on to read and says, repeal section 36, subsection 1, and replaced with the executive authority of Belize, which is vested in the prime minister, who is head of state and head of government, who chooses 12 ministers who shall form the cabinet. And then under subsection 2 of the same section, it says, repeal section 36(2) and replace with subsection to the provisions of this constitution, the executive authority of Belize may be exercised on behalf of the people of Belize, either directly or through the prime minister or deputy prime minister, ministers, deputy ministers, or officers subordinate to the prime minister. And there are other portions that I would like to read, but I can't take up the show's time currently, because these matters should have more properly been addressed under the constitutional review on the Friday night, where we deal with those substantive matters. Because as of right now, Mr. Chairman, you're making a presentation on these matters, but for the public to hear what is being said in the proposal that was given to the Prime Minister, it's very essential for them to hear it and know what it implies. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. But let
You're
me
welcome, sir.
say this. While I do not disagree with what you presented, I will say that the Prime Minister is acting as though that has come to pass already. But I want to stipulate this. Belize has only one constitution
At a
that we
time.
know of. So any other mention of a constitution to be or a constitution in making is inconsistent with the present constitution and is null and void. Mr. Morrison, we were
Mr. Chairman,
speaking.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Chairman,
Mr.
one word
Brackett.
quickly. Sorry, Mr. Marson, but exactly what you stipulated earlier, that is that we only have one constitution at a time, but the Prime Minister is acting as if that proposed amendment to the constitution is already in place. That's how these guys are ruling. And the people, because they don't know and have not heard what these things say, the people are totally oblivious. Most of the people. And those who know,
To,
they shut up their mouth because they don't want to rock the boat.
to
But
correct
I
that,
yield back, sir.
Mr. Brackett,
I yield back, sir.
let me clarify it for you. Belize is not a fully independent country. It has a head of state. And any activity that was done under this present government, and I will stipulate it, the removing of the Queen's head from the money is in violation of our heads of state, because That should have only been done when we became a republic, not before. That is considered seditious activity against the crown. So make no mistake that everything that they are putting in place without having a plebiscite, without having a referendum, before coming to the people to see if the people will side with them, is unconstitutional. I go to you, Mr. Morrison. The topic tonight, Mr.
Yes,
Morrison,
I'm
was
aware of it. I'm aware of it, sir. Unless you want to repeat it.
I don't think I have to, sir. You have the floor
Okay.
to proceed.
Okay. There's one disagreement I take with you when you mentioned, Mr. Brackett, that Belize is not a totally fully independent country. I think I take exception to that in some ways. I do realize that we have the Queen as our sovereign, and but it is pretty much in the role of consent. I don't know in the history of our country where they have ever dissented or it has not been made public with any of the policies of any of the government that has been in place in Belize, whether it is the PUP or UDP government that has taken place in the 44 years of our independence. So I'm not quite sure where we're leading down that road, that we're not a fully independent country. I can't remember the total number of countries that are part of the Commonwealth, but I think it's like 35 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. 34 or 35 countries, I think, are part of the Commonwealth. And I think they would all differ with you as to whether they're indeed independent countries as being part of this formal organization that we call the Commonwealth of Nations that were previously British colonies. So
Uh,
that's where I take exception with that
Mr.
issue.
Chairman, may I
Uh,
dip in? On a point of clarity to what Mr. Morrison just alluded to, may I?
Before you do for check and balance and clarity, Mr. Morrison,
Finish up.
I want to say this, and you will have the chance to go and look at it. Independent countries. I will give you example. Canada, Australia, they are fully independent republic. They keep their parliamentary democracy and they still have the crown as the head of state. Belize is not there yet. Australia is also fully independent and they still keep the head of state, which
I
is
don't
the
see the
crown.
difference. I don't see the difference, Mr.
Sir,
Brackett.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes,
may I interject just to go to the point that you're still insisting on, sir, because
yes, yeah.
there's
Go
the
ahead.
need for that clarity as I asked the chairman to allow me to put
Yeah,
it.
go
Thank you
ahead.
very
Go
much,
ahead.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Morrison, for allowing me to interject, sir. The basis on which Belize became independent, which upfront I need to clarify what is it that my cousin and Mr. Chairman, Mr. Brackett, is alluding to, is the fact that a lot of people in Belize does not understand how a country becomes fully independent. We have what you call a conditional independence in our country of Belize. And let me clarify and explain how we arrive at that conclusion. For example, when the United Nations told Britain to give Belize its independence within the territorial boundaries that it currently had, and that resolution was passed at the United Nations Security Council as well as the resolution in the General Assembly for us to go ahead and have our independence. England was asked to see to it that Belize had a defense mechanism available to it in order for it to have its independence guaranteed and or have an ability to be able to sustain its independence. The United Nations has a code that is to say no nation is allowed to become an independent nation without having maritime abilities to be able to help themselves or keep, preserve, or protect their independence if they're a maritime part of the globe, and or military support.
An army and a flotilla.
Right. So what they're saying is that Britain agreed to grant that to us for a period of time. So we got what we call a conditional independence
That's not
until
true. I've never seen
just
that.
a
And
minute,
if that's the
just a
case,
minute. It's something
if
that
that's the
I'm
case,
trying to
Mr.
explain to
Brackett,
you
Mr. Brackett,
that
if
most
that's the
people are
case,
not aware of
then
and have been bamboozled on. And
no,
I'm
that's
trying to,
not true. That's not
if
true.
you
I
allow
don't
me to
believe
finish
that.
the thought, though,
I don't
because
believe that.
yeah,
I understand what you're saying about the conditional
yes, sir. But please
state
let me finish
of
explaining how is it that we arrived
no,
at
but
what
I
is it.
understand all that. I understand all
Yes,
that.
but
I don't
the
need to
public,
be explained that.
Mr. Morrison, we're doing this on behalf of the public.
Understand.
You and
But
I are at a different level in terms of what we would consider people who are
if
of
we
an,
have conditional, let me just say this point and then I'll let you talk for the rest of
uh-huh,
the
uh-huh,
evening.
uh-huh,
If we
uh-huh.
have conditional independence, then I will go to have a republic so that we have full unconditional independence.
That is exactly what we have to do, as I specify.
But we don't need to even go there, because I'm saying to you, there are thresholds that are in place currently that allows us to fall into that categorization. The
If
British,
if
the
if I
British
may,
had,
Mr. Brackett, for clarity, let me
go
say
ahead, Mr.
this
Chairman.
again. Mr. Morrison, to proceed to a fully independent Belize, the government of Belize must come to the people using a plebiscite or a referendum to make sure they agree,
Those are the mechanics
to
or
make sure
mechanism.
they agree to change the country from a democratic country to a republic country. And
From
there's
a
two
parliamentary
ways to
system
do
to a
that.
democratic to a,
We can
Yeah.
have a republic using our prime minister as the sole person in power as a president, as they had did when they came around and they started to talk about the PCC Act and wanted to know if you prefer a governor general or if you prefer a president. So they were actually putting it out there.
Uh, Mr. Chairman,
Okay?
would you permit me, sir, please? That is precisely the reason why I read what I read earlier from the representation of the People's Act. I'm sorry, from the PCC recommendation. That's why I started out that reading just now, and it just so happened that you locked right into it. Yeah, but let me.
I don't think we were ever told that we were not a fully independent country. Nobody told us
We
that,
were
Mr.
bamboozled from beginning to end,
Well,
and I'm trying.
well,
That is the reason why we are having this discussion
then
right
I
now.
vote for a republic. My vote is for a republic, so we could
Yes,
become
but
fully
I don't
independent.
have,
just for the benefit of
gentlemen,
the public,
gentlemen,
for the
just a
benefit of the public,
second, just a second. We don't
we
want
still
to
need
be
to have
speaking
the
over
discussion.
one another.
Yeah,
Mr.
one at a time. Yeah.
Morrison, I fully support that. I have no problem with Belize becoming a republic, except if we do, we need to keep our parliamentary democracy and our head of state like Canada, like Australia. I don't have a problem with that. I
Uh,
do not want to be a republic and have our government lead us into becoming a defenseless papa.
but that's where we are, Mr. Chairman. And if you permit me, I'm trying to explain to the public at large, because remember,
Well, Mr. Brackett,
we
I
might
don't
have our
want to
own
take
opinion. Everybody
away.
have their own opinion, and while you might be inclined to accept a republic for Belize, based on my knowledge and understanding, I do not believe that that's where we should be heading for. No, that is only me. Like you said, you had your opinion, and I'm trying to express mine. The bottom line is that each and every one of us is entitled to an opinion, whether we're right or wrong or indifferent. But at the end of the day, the facts will prevail, and that is that the the rules of the United Nations stipulate certain things. England was under the duress to make certain performance on our behalf because we were not there yet, and we still are not there yet. So when England, the time that England considered to have been a reasonable time, as they had stipulated in the statement, a reasonable time to them has already come and passed. So they left us out there exactly as you just declared just now, Mr. Chairman, as a defenseless papa. Who is our defense? Who is the person that's guaranteeing our defense other than the head of state? If we take Mr. Britannia and make him the head of state right now, which is what they're trying to do with this PCC craziness, is he going to come out of his pocket to help our defense development? Who's going to guarantee our defense? Or are we just going to become a vassal state to Guatemala, which is part of the bigger agenda?
Mr. Brackett, I think I answered that before. We had a guaranteed independence outside of the Commonwealth. We have our good friends in the CARICOM region, Jamaica, who would have troops right here in Belize to make sure our independence survive. But at any rate, I don't want to change from the topic. Mr. Morrison, I was speaking about the separation of powers. And tonight's show, I want to show why it is important as a democratic country, why we enforce the separation of powers. Because I want you, the people at home and abroad, to see how our separation of powers is being misused, especially in this Budna scenario. I go back to you, Mr. Morrison, to finish on the separation of powers that you heard.
Well, I do believe that it is necessary to have those separation of powers, and the failure to do that, we've seen influence and interference in the courts, and that's why I believe that generally we need to set a percentage of our national budget and allocate that to our judiciary, which includes both the police and the legal departments, the courts and stuff, and that becomes a fixed part of our national budget. So it's not, no government is able to play with it and change those without getting specific direction from the people. And I think once we do that and we start finding more independent ways of appointing or justices, so that once we have that, you don't have that. You'll always have some leaning on the government that could be done, but you don't have that direct influence of threatened of losing your position and so forth as a justice, and you don't have that interference of playing with the money that in fact then result in the shrinkage and challenges to the Department of Justice. So that is important. And then also we talk about a smaller cabinet and looking at ways that we could um, further separate the legislator from the actual and the parliamentarian from the actual functioning of government. And we talked about this in many ways. We talked about returning back to the days of permanent secretaries and giving up this role of CEO that are just total political appointment with really no expertise in the field and still has to be covered and making decisions that are sometimes totally flawed and end up costing us money or duplication in terms of having to appoint someone qualified that's knowledgeable about the area. And what this has done, it has hollowed out our civil service department, because when civil servants find that they cannot progress in the ranks to some top level beyond just maybe a head of a department and not the permanent secretary, it leaves many disillusioned. and so it creates problem for how our succession goes, because we don't have any way of bringing expertise to the ministries. So those are some of the areas that I see are.
Mr. Morrison, while those are well-spoken facts, I was speaking of the separation of powers when it comes to our judiciary, especially in this Budna scenario, where we have the Prime Minister as the head of the executive wants the police to turn over investigative report to him.
Yeah,
And
I
tonight,
understand.
and
I, I
for
understand that, Mr.
tonight on this show, I want to show to the people at home and abroad why this should not happen.
Let me just say something before
Go ahead, sir.
you can join there. I do believe in what you're saying, but I also believe that that as the executive officer, the prime minister has a right to ask the police department to do a report and to turn it over to him. I do not see that as a conflict. I do not see it as the all end for a legal investigation into the matter. But for him to have an executive report that talks about what could have happened and what went wrong and why the situation is as it is, there's no conflict of interest and there's no stepping on anyone's toes with the Prime Minister making that request, in my opinion. You could continue now.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I want to say this to you. What if I prove you wrong right here on this show tonight?
Then
And
I'll
to the
accept.
world.
Yes.
I will tell you why. We want to make it make sense, right? As the Prime Minister, did the Prime Minister go to the UN and speak about the incident with Guatemala and the Sarah Stone?
And he did an excellent job.
Right. And why did he did that? We are quite aware that he saw the video, right? So then how come in this investigative report that is of a national interest, he's trying to say he have not seen the video, but he still wants to have an investigative report. And before I go to anybody, let's play the tape.
Have you received any report that a minister or cabinet minister participated in commissioning the Budna abduction, and have you asked that in cabinet?
No, I have not received that report, and in cabinet we have not discussed that issue in cabinet. Basically, all we said is that there's going to be an investigation.
It's been frowned upon that this matter, as huge as it is, was not discussed in cabinet.
But why would we what are we going to discuss? We need to get the report before we talk. Why we talk about the conjecture or gossip? What we just want to wait the report, then we could have a discussion.
Why would the report go to cabinet instead of going to the DPP's office?
It's not going to cabinet. It's going to me, as the prime minister. I am responsible, so it comes to me. Once it comes to me, then I probably inform my cabinet of what was found there, and I will make that decision, not the cabinet.
Legal question here, PM. As far as you, I know, but as far as you understand, what is your authority to remove or suspend a commissioner of police and appoint an acting commissioner of police?
Well, obviously, the Prime Minister appoints commissioners of police. So if there's going to be any appointment through the Governor General, yes. So obviously, then it will be done through my office.
Do you accept any at all that police might have been involved in this abduction?
Well, I can't accept anything until I get the report and I get the evidence.
What was sufficient for Mr. Barrington Flowers to be placed on interdiction from that preliminary report?
Maybe there was nothing about him in that preliminary report. There's nothing about him. Maybe you need to ask the people at the police department.
But you are the one who made the recommendation.
Yes, I made, no, not about the Barrington. No, I had no recommendation. I did not do that. I had nothing to do with that.
Dr. Assad is the first commissioner that's ever been put on administrative leave. Is there a possibility that he can come back even after he's been publicly shamed this way?
I don't think he was publicly shamed. I think what was happening is that he wanted to remove himself, and so from this whole thing, so that you don't accuse that he's tampering with this with the investigation. It's somewhat like you guys. I mean, it's somewhat like damn if you do, damn if you don't. He decided to do the horrible thing, Africa. You know, it's best that he have administrative leave so that we can proceed with this investigation. It has nothing to shame Commissioner Rosado.
Gentlemen and people at home and abroad, I will prove it right here tonight on Belizean Affair that our Prime Minister is lying. I go to you first, Mr. Wade. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, any fool, listen to that guy, right? And listen to the words he says, right? That guy is a liar all the way to the bank, right? And as where I'm concerned, he should never be tampering with a police investigation, right? And as far as I'm concerned, after the police had did his investigation, that report should go directly to the DPP for criminal charges, right? So I don't know why he has to sit on that and watch it and he says if he wants now, if he think he might produce it to cabinet. Oh, listen to that guy. The report will go to him. Who does that? What the hell he's talking about, right? What's that is showing any fool could see that that guy has a problem, right? And why, like I say, why does he want that report to come to him? I mean, they could brief him. This man, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Chairman, this man gets a briefing every day from the police commissioner. When the police commissioner gets a briefing from his commanders around the country, substations around the country, then the commissioner of police briefs the prime minister every morning on the happenings in the country. He should know. Yes, he should know. But he should not get a hold of that report. And then he will consider in his damn stupid head what he want to do with it. That's what he's saying. But anyway, I'll say no more. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, right? But as far as I'm concerned, like I said previously, that man needs an outside entity to come in this country and investigate his ass, right? Based on the amount of things that guy has done and said in this country. And here he walking a free man, get away with it. That's how I feel. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. I go to you, Mr. Brackett. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I won't piggyback on you, Mr. Wade, if you could hear me. I said on this particular platform, on previous shows, that when big people are at the head of the table, unnecessarily conflating and lying, it means that they're doing that on behalf of bigger people than themselves. We all knew, as I've also pointed out, that a couple of days before that gentleman was kidnapped and taken out of the country illegally. Kidnapped, beaten up, and taken out of the country, by the way. I also said that the gentleman had a problem with the Prime Minister. And someone close to the Prime Minister, extremely close to the Prime Minister, whose name I haven't called yet, but the person has a name, and he has a position, would have been aggrieved on behalf of the Prime Minister, and with the powers, because he's so close to the Prime Minister, that he can wield, became an agent to facilitate getting this process in motion. The Prime Minister wants to see how close this report is going to come in his direction. Therefore, he needs to self-expropriate. As rightly pointed out on the show before that by Mr. Wade, that report should have gone or should go to the DPP for her recommendation as to whether or not the police needs to do additional investigation for a proper prosecution of whoever is it that report is pointing at. But once that report is given to the Prime Minister before going to the DPP, for all intents and purposes, that report then becomes suspect, and or the chain of custody for that particular report to go to any court in our system of governance right now would mean that any lawyer that's worth their salt can impeach that report and get his clients off. We're dealing with a lot of different things in regards to this matter. It's not just one thing. It's not just about the family having a problem with that gentleman or about that gentleman railing up and talking stuff about Mr. Rosado in such vehement way as he did. We all have that in tape. It's all recorded. It's all been used in the past. One also had problems with Minister Nye. He had problems with Minister from Ozal North, not Ozal, I'm sorry.
Mr. Mai.
North Division, Mr. Montes. The man had problems also from the Minister of Health. One of whose employee assaulted the man. And then when the man tried to go and make his complaint at the police station because he wanted to press charges, the police laughed him off and did not refuse his report. There's a whole lot of things going on. Besides, as you know, all those people that were involved with this stuff are people that had influence and were high caliber. We had a corporal that walked away from doing executing his job and responsibility as a police officer who should have intervened. He was suborned by someone with more powers above him. And that person with more powers above him had other people that had other powers far above him as well. So the thing goes up, high up, high up, high up to the point where it stinks, like some people have said, to high hell, to high heaven. But it doesn't stink to high heaven. It stinks to lower hell. And the Prime Minister is just trying to self-exculpate, as far as I could see. Now, I could be wrong. But the evidence that we have been shown so far, that's my
Thank you.
conclusion.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. I want to say this though. Just looking at the video and listening to what happened, with knowledge of law, if Mr. Budna had committed an infraction, a criminal offense, and the police officer went out the station while he was shouting, once he was detained, why didn't they just take him in the station? Because that was not what they were looking for. So they well know the implementation of what they wanted to do and who the orders came from. Before I go to the next step, Mr. Morrison, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. I still, without repeating myself too much, believe that the Prime Minister has the authority to request a report. As I said, this report is not the legal report. I believe that a legal report follows a different chain of custody and protocol. And that after we hear from the Prime Minister what this report contains, I will trust that he will inform the nation clearly, and I think this happens next Tuesday. When I don't know when he'll inform us, but I think the report is delivered to him next Tuesday. And I'm hoping that after he has heard that report and the public have had a chance to look at it, and that the tapes that we had seen in clouded visual will be released clearly, because I don't think displaying those will any way affect or prejudice the evidence in the case. And that then the Attorney General, who has supreme responsibility in this case, will then direct the DPP to open a formal legal investigation, both on the constitutionality of what happened and on the criminal and legal rights of what was done. So that is how I think it proceeds. But I see absolutely no problem. And in fact, I personally applaud I don't like the manner in which he did it and sidestep it, but I applaud him for requesting a report. I think that we had a greater failure ahead of this, though. I think that the first request for a report should have come from the Minister of Police. but he sidestepped his responsibility. He negated his responsibility and dropped the ball, and that's why we end up with this mess all the way at the top at this point. This should never have been shaken to this level. It should have been resolved, and the evidence, and not the evidence, but the report should have been requested by first the Minister of Police, and then the Prime Minister should have been made a copy of it. After the copy is made to the Prime Minister, he would then, based on what he could determine from it, or maybe if he can't even determine from it, because he's not a legal expert, he has the Attorney General look at it for legal clarification, and then giving it to the DPP to address it in the formal way. I know you're smiling on it, Mr. Brackett, but that
Because
is
of
the
our
legal
separation
way.
of powers, sir.
That's the legal way.
Everything you described is that everything you just described is what my cousin was trying to intimate, that we were trying to adjust the separation of powers. And what you have just described is a violation of the fundamental principles of the separation of powers doctrine.
Why the Prime
I have
Minister?
more that I want to say, but
Why the Prime Minister? No, you have to explain. Why the Prime Minister, as the executive of our country, requesting a executive report?
I will show you why, Mr. Morrison.
No, you did not prove that to me last time.
I will prove this to you right now, Mr. Morrison. I will prove it to you right now. I will show you why. You want me to tell you? Because he cannot be trusted. And I will show you why he cannot be trusted.
I agree with you that it may have not told us the truth.
I
when
will
he
show
said he did
you
not
why.
see,
And I will add on to that. The acting commissioner of police cannot be trusted either. And I will show you why also. And it's not from my belief, it's from the tape recordings that are showed on the news. Okay? So we will go with it. The Prime Minister said he has never seen the tape. Okay? Let's listen to this.
While I know you haven't been able to have a cabinet meeting to discuss the situation as yet, have you asked the ministers personally whether they had any involvement?
But this is not something for cabinet to discuss. We've had an investigation. An investigation is ongoing. Once we get the report, then the police will then tell on the report. They will recommend. I don't know why people get so excited by that. I will take that. Once the police makes their report to me, they will then recommend and say, Prime Minister, there is evidence. If there is any evidence in wrongdoing, it needs to go to the DPP. Of course, all I will do is just inform cabinet, hey, this is what happened. But it's not for cabinet to discuss. We have said it over and over, and the Minister of Police have said it to the media that he has nothing involved. He has not been involved with this matter. So what else can I say?
But did you ask the ministers whether they had involvement?
Yes, we have. We have discussed this, and he has said he's not involved.
The other ministers?
When we mention it in cabinet, obviously, when
he said they didn't discuss it in cabinet.
Right there, Mr. Morrison.
No, I understand. I'm appalled.
You lied by oneself.
Yeah, I'm appalled that he would say they would not discuss it in cabinet. I could understand if he said we had limited discussion on it.
Mr. Morrison, how can he discuss it without obtaining the report when this Prime Minister has got on national TV and said he did not see the videotape? Can you answer that for me, sir?
No, I'm not going to contest, and I'm not going to adjoin to the Prime Minister saying that he did not see the video. I believe if he didn't see it, it was great negligence to not have seen it. To just make that, just let me finish. To just make that denial that he did not see it is just thinking he's talking to fools. And so I don't believe that.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, may I? The Prime Minister in that tape that you played in the beginning said the matter should come to him and he will decide whether or not he will discuss it with his cabinet members. And at the end of the tape, when he's on the hot seat, he's confessing that yes, he had discussed it with his cabinet members. You can't have it both ways. You can't say you have discussed it and then you haven't discussed it and both things are true at the same time. That's incredible. How the man doesn't have enough, balance in his head for him keep one lie straight, make it look like one truth at least.
No, no, thank you,
The
Mr.
man lie
Brackett.
myself.
Gentlemen and people at home and abroad,
Self-exculpation, Mr. Chairman.
I want to
That's
go
what we're
to the
dealing with.
next step with the acting commissioner, and I want you to hear what the acting commissioner says also.
In terms of Barry Flowers, how was he able to sign out a gun from SPU when he was on leave?
All those issues, whether internally in terms of whether police officers breach their code of conduct and or disciplinary procedures, everything, the investigation will be looking at all of that. So from a criminal perspective and also from an internal perspective. So if it means that a police officer may have reneged in his duty, if that is the findings, then he will be put before a disciplinary tribunal, as the case may be. So we'll just wait to see what the results of the investigation will be.
Can you say who was behind the decision to put him on interdiction? Because we have asked both the Prime Minister and the Minister of Home Affairs, and they say it wasn't their call.
Well, the call actually was mine after we have what the evidence that have come forward just thus far, where it is he has been identified as the only person has been identified so far, and so with that I thought that it was sufficient to put him on interdiction while the investigation continues. And as I said, that this is the same that occurs whenever a police officer, to the extent that there's some credible information that they may be involved in a crime, we will normally put them on interdiction. So that's so the decide, and I signed that in interdiction.
Okay.
I'm glad the acting commissioner is seeing it as a crime, because it is a crime to have kidnapped and removed Mr. Budna from his country of birth.
People at home and abroad, I want to say this. I would hope that you, as a Belizean citizen, will do some facts checking. Because what the acting commissioner just said is unbelievable. He did not put Mr. Flowers on interdiction.
That was done
And
before.
I will tell you why. Mr. Flowers was placed on interdiction from the 7th of September, before they even put the commissioner on his leave. Mr. Jones did not become acting commissioner until the 8th of September, after
He's taking
Mr.
one for the team, Mr.
Rosado
Chairman.
was placed on leave. And I'm going to run the banner so you can see it.
The deputy commissioner is taking one for the team, sir. That's what he was doing there when he was articulating and verbalizing what he verbalized.
He said he signed the interdiction order. So I think that is traceable. So maybe someone may have called him and say, stand down.
They're conflating, sir. They're trying to cover their butts each other, trying to help each other.
No, but I'm just saying.
We're missing your voice. Something is going on around. You want to repeat what you said just now, Mr. Morrison? I wasn't privy to what you said, sir.
Mr. Morrison?
Something is happening with your speaker. Greg?
Let me go to you, Mr. Wade, for the time being.
Go ahead. Mr. Morrison is back. Go ahead.
Mr. Morrison, can you hear us?
Yes,
go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm saying there must exist a paper trail to confirm what Mr. Jones is saying, the deputy commissioner. He said he placed him. The evidence is saying that he was placed on interdiction on the 8th. I think that will be easy to determine. Maybe someone had previously said you need to stand down to the officer, but the formal response is that Mr. Jones placed him on interdiction on the 8th. So while both things can be right, that he was placed on the 7th, the formality of it and the written documentation should follow on the 8th, and that should be a paper trail that will be evident and will be part of the court evidence if this ever come to trial, as it probably
Okay,
should.
what we are doing here, we are trying to flesh out the bits and pieces among ourselves in terms of what we think we understand and remember about the
Mr.
case,
Brackett,
right?
1
Yes,
second, please.
yes, sir. Go
Mr.
ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Morrison, can you read the banner on the bottom of the screen? This is what it
On
says.
On September, the Prime Minister, John Brisenia, directed Police Commissioner Dr. Richard Rosado to take a 45-day leave of absence. In the statement, Deputy Commissioner Bart Jones was appointed. That's all it says. But
Mr. Flowers was placed on interdiction on the 7th of September, not
but
the 8th.
that's not in that statement that you have in the bottom there.
Sir, we need
I
to
will
stop trying to make
also
excuses
put
for
that
them,
for you. All right? But I'm specifying they are in denial because Mr. Jones could not be acting commissioner before Mr. Briseno had put Dr. Richard Rosado on that 45 days leave. So he is placing himself as the scapegoat.
So who put the officer on interdiction then? Who did?
It had to been the Prime Minister, even though he did not say so. I go to you, Mr. Wade.
The whole thing, the whole thing stinks. You know, I will be relieved whenever this matter, gets to court. That it will be getting to court. And I say this to say that on previous shows I have called on the family of Mr. Budna to get some legal help, get some attorneys that is knowledgeable of our constitution, and pursue this matter. And I call on the Human Rights Commission, not the ones here stationed in Belize, but the ones that's out of Belize, that to come in and do a formal investigation, because it also involves human rights, right, violation. And it's not the first time that Belize has been flagged as a country of, doing these kinds of atrocities to human beings here in this country. The State Department had flagged Belize twice, right, for these kinds of actions also, right? So, and as far as that report, like I say, I just hope and pray that the police does the right thing and not give John Briseno the certified copy. Give him a copy of whatever they decide to give him, and do the right thing and make sure that they hold the right report. The report, just in case, because we cannot trust that man. That man is not to be trusted, right? Just in case just in case that he decide to throw the whole police department under the bus, right? You never could tell with that guy, right? So I just hope and pray that they hold and some kind of safekeeping, right? And that report should go direct to the DPP, not to Mr. The acting the AG, right? Not to him, because they're all one, you see, right? They're all one. Who appoints him? Who gave him that job, right? So, for truth and clarity, like I say, that report should go from the police to the DPP. That's the person that charges, that says, well, that person should be charged, not to the AG, right? So at some point, I'm not saying that he shouldn't see it, but he shouldn't be the one that gets it first. And again, like I say, I just hope and pray that that report doesn't get mixed up. Let Johnny Briseño do whatever he wants to do with that report that they are going to give him. And please, through our medium, hold a copy of that report, right? So he cannot say otherwise. If he say otherwise, the police could come and say, no, this is the report. What he did with that report is not right. And I hope and pray that they have the balls and the guts to tell the Prime Minister that he's wrong, right? I just hope and pray.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Just a minute, Mr. Brackett. I want to say this, right? For the acting commissioner of police to say that he placed Mr. Flowers an interdiction is a farce. You know why it's a farce? Because he specifically said he did not see the video. But yet he came back and said preliminary reports place him as part of the investigation. That is why he placed him an interdiction. And Mr. Morrison,
And he
to
also said
update you
that
to
he
what
was.
I said, you see what the banner is saying? Just a second, Mr. Brackett. On September the 8th, 2025, Prime Minister John Briceño directed Police Commissioner Dr. Rosado to take a 45 days leave of absence. In that statement, Deputy Commissioner Bart Jones was appointed. Here you go, Mr. Morrison. So the interdiction of Flowers was effective 1 day before the formal appointment of Bart Jones as acting commissioner. Jones' active post took effect when Rosada leave was on September the 8th. So it's right
But
there
you have to
for
listen
you,
to
the
what
people at
you have to
home, to
listen.
see and abroad.
Mr. Brackett, you have to listen to what Mr. Jones says. You cannot convict him or say he's wrong when he tells you specifically, I signed the interdiction report on the 8th. That's what he said. He may have gotten direction from the Prime Minister. He may have gotten direction from what he said he did not see. He said he did not see the video, but yet he said, based on that, he put him on interdiction. So there's definitely a conflict of his statement, and there's a conflict in every one of their statements. Let me just finish this point, and I'll let you. The Prime Minister had conflict of statement, and as Mr. Wade pointed out, the Prime Minister gets a briefing, and if he didn't see the video, it was gross negligence. That's it's such an important issue within the community and the country, and in his jurisdiction, would fail for him to not have the interest to kind of find out all he can about it. That is gross negligence on his
He just
part.
wants it to disappear.
Yeah.
The deed was done and he wants to
Mr.
disappear.
Morrison,
Mr. Chairman,
I will go to you right now,
but I'm
Mr.
not getting a chance
Brackett.
to expound on the points that are passing
Mr.
by. So
Morrison, I will state this right now and here again. A prime example is the Senate inquiry that we cannot hear the outcome that was blocked by who? The Prime Minister of this country. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
I stipulated earlier that there's an issue with the Prime Minister trying to self-exculpate. I don't know if people really understand what I'm trying to say, or maybe I'm just using unnecessary words that people don't have the gravitas or are willing to acknowledge as being based on the evidence presented so far. Nobody in their right mind, as a Prime Minister, with good faith towards his position, his office, his sworn oath, and his people, would violate the fundamental principles of the separation of powers doctrine and grab and take over a case, a major case at that, from the jurisdiction of the courts and the way the process is supposed to operate. He, as the Prime Minister, is entitled to be briefed. He is not entitled to receive the final report. He's conflating and he's overreaching and he's breaking the fundamental principle of the separation of powers. Why? Because that's the way they perceive governance is supposed to be, which is why I read that thing earlier from what they're trying to do with the Constitution currently. They're trying to hard and pull the Constitution to make what he just did and is trying to do right now to be the standards and the way the process works. That's how the mechanics of these guys' minds operate. They could care less what the Constitution says. They want it work the way they want it, and to hell with whatever the Constitution is saying. And I'm saying the man has conflict of interest. He lies unnecessarily, and he exposes himself to the lies that he's telling before he tells the second lie, after the second lie, after the third lie, the fourth lie, and he keeps telling lies to cover up other lies. And he thinks that nobody out here is keeping track. We don't have talents, okay? And that's the big problem. But I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Can I get a minute there, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, 1 minute. Mr. Chairman, can I get a minute? Mr. Chairman?
Greg, is he hearing?
But anyway, can I get a minute?
Go ahead,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman?
Wade.
Okay, you played a tape when that man was asked, you know, why did you put Dr. Rosado, the Commissioner of Police, on 45 days leave? You know what that man says? I didn't put him. He says that, you know, based on all what was going on, he decided to go on leave.
That's another lie.
Say no more, Mr. Chairman. Go ahead. Thank you.
He lied on himself. That's another lie where he tell the truth one way and turn around and tell another untruth another way, and both things end up being either one as a truth.
So that's why the reason I says I would like an outside entity to come and investigate this man.
What
right?
Is he covering?
For the things that he had said and the things that he had done so far that he took office as leader of this country. Right? I call on an outside entity, openly to our medium, to come and investigate this man. Right?
Mr. Chairman, what was Mr. Rosado trying to hide when he got and give the Prime Minister what the Prime Minister considered to have been an incomplete report? And why was the Prime Minister trying to take that report over?
This man,
which was not under his
jurisdiction. This man, Mr. Chairman, is not fit. Is not fit. Is not fit to lead this country anymore. Is not fit to lead this country anymore. I could call 101 things why he is not why he is not fit.
I will say that I hear all that you're saying, and I'm no big fan of this Prime Minister for many reasons. But I will say he did us proud. He did the nation proud in his presentation at the United Nations General Assembly.
Mr. Morrison, not to write words are easy, but is it truth? What he's saying? Is it truth?
I believe from my perspective, he addressed my concerns. He seemed to have reached the spirit, and I wish that he would continue in that mode of addressing the concerns and the spirit of the people of Belize. I think he covered all of the salient issues of concern. Cuba, our friend; Venezuela, our friend; Taiwan, our friend. And Haiti, and making those points in that forum,
he redeemed himself.
resonate to represent the goodness of the Belizean people. He also
sadly he uses the word the Belizean people.
Mr.
That's what
Morrison,
he said is not for the Belizean people.
I must
it's
say
for him only, because that's not what's happening on the ground. That's not what's happening on the ground.
That's what I said. Mr. Wayne. I said I wish he would follow through. I wish he would follow through with that and address some more of the issues for the people. But I think
Just
he
a
did
second,
an
Mr. Brackett.
outstanding job in addressing those concerns in that international forum and in standing up to Guatemala against their aggression to
Can I
Belize.
can I get my
Mr.
turn? Because
Morrison,
the subject is changing up a little bit from what
It's yeah,
I wanted to comment
Mr.
on.
Morrison, just a second, Mr. Brackett.
Yes, sir.
yeah.
For 2 years on this medium, I've been calling out past and present government and their failure when it comes to internal and external policy. It is the first time I've seen the Prime Minister stand up and
Yeah.
did what he was supposed to do.
And I
And I
agree. That's what I.
applaud
That's
him
all
on
I was
that.
mentioning. That's
I
all I
go
was
to you,
mentioning.
Mr. Brackett.
I have not seen
Uh,
it by
uh,
the Barrow. I've not seen it by the Esquivel. I've not seen it by the Musa. This is the first time I've seen them take a real stance on the position of Belize and the Guatemalan aggression at this
most
forum and
most
at this
most
meeting.
Belizeans give the Prime Minister a pass in that particular presentation and
I don't know
speech.
if it's a pass, miss. I think it's an outstanding performance.
Make I give me a chance, man. Give me a little chance. Most Belizeans who saw that presentation are receptive to what the Prime Minister was saying and the fact that he standing out compared to many others in the past that did not do what he did. I'm saying that does not give him a pass on all the other criminal stuff that these guys have been doing in the country. And I need to address that part because that is where I need to come down with my comment. That's why I was kind of, let me do that. The Prime Minister saved faced on doing such a good job at the UN that in their mind, the rest of the Budna stuff and other issues that's going on in the country and things that they're trying to do with the 13th Amendment and the PCC Act and all the criminal stuff about the economics and things that, all the other stuff supposed to get washed under the bridge now and forgotten about. My point is that the Prime Minister is tampering with the process, the protocols, the procedures, and how is it that our governance system should operate. He's trying to allow it to operate in a different way that's not conducive and or falling in line with our known system. He should not have stepped out of boundary to ask for that report. He could have gotten, just as he's entitled to every day, to get a report on any and everything that's happening in the country, especially critical matters and matters that has to do with international breach of our borders and our international. I mean, they're not just the Prime Minister should have been involved then. The Foreign Affairs Minister should have been involved in that matter, having to do with the fact that the man was transferred to Guatemala, a hostile nation to our Belize country as a neighbor. My point is that Greg brought up tonight as the main focus the separation of powers doctrine, to which I am pointing out that the Prime Minister, in this particular issue of the Budna issue, is trying to self-exculpate. He's trying to, in other words, get access to that documentation that is going to be produced by the police for him to see how close that report gets to him. And then he will decide whether or not he will make it an issue or ask them if he will redo it or clean it up or fix it or take him out of the limelight or whatever. That's how those things operate. But I'm not going to sit here and make no excuse for him when I know that's how they operate, because that's how they have been operating before and continue to operate. The Prime Minister does not want to have the egg in his face. The fact that he had problem with the gentleman and somebody else on his behalf launched that particular the Budna project, for example, and then the thing they come back now and the blowback panel, I'm not going to sit here or nowhere else and pretend to be
Mr.
making
Brackett,
excuses for them.
have me an
I won't
excuse,
tell you like
Mr.
it is.
Brackett.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
Isn't that what your president doing with the Epstein file?
Not my president, sir. I think You're
So much
misspeaking.
So he's taking a page out of his book and
Yeah.
using it in Belize.
Yeah.
You-
You know,
I don't have my vote, Greg. Let me make that public right now since we're on the public aware.
yeah.
I know you're just trying to be funny just now, right? But I don't have a vote in this country. I'm not. I'm still a Belizean. I'll die with my Belizean passport
But
on my
the
chest.
man
Okay.
is using
well,
a
I'm a
page out
Democrat,
of
so I
his
vote
No,
Democrat,
I'm not showing
Greg,
any aspersions
Mr.
on what you
Chairman.
said. I'm not showing aspersion on what you said or what you're alluding to.
Mr.
I'm just trying to
Brackett.
clarify the fact that
The PM is
he's not my
using a
president. I
page
didn't vote
out
for
of the
him.
president playbook.
Well, I do think it is a miscarriage to have the prime minister um, escape if he's involved, and I'm hoping that he will provide and release to us the full report. And that's why I'm saying the report, I believe, should be a document that's released to the prime minister. It should be released to the attorney general, and then it should probably also be released to the DPP. And I believe that if there's criminal findings, the attorney general should
Sir,
direct. Let me finish my point, sir. Yeah,
but you're
you
repeating what I just told you is not
yeah,
the
I
way.
know, I am, because you
Hold
repeated
on,
what
Mr.
you said. So
Brackett.
I
Let him
need to,
finish.
you
Go ahead,
repeated
Mr.
it. So
Morrison.
I
Go
need
ahead,
to
Mr.
follow it.
Morrison.
So I believe then the attorney general should then direct the DPP to carry out a constitutional and criminal investigation, and to see where our laws were tampered. I agree with you that it should also be released to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, because this played into that realm.
Yes, but
It
that's
should,
a
but
different
the
point.
Hold
minister,
on,
but
Mr.
the
Brackett. Hold
but
on.
the,
Hold on.
but there are a number of people that
Don't
should
mix
get
them
this
up.
report almost simultaneously,
Mr.
including
Morrison.
including let me finish just one point, including the Minister of Police, who is the direct report for the commissioner. Although I know the commissioner is appointed, I think there was this discussion with Chester and the Minister of Police, whether he was responsible for Chester as commissioner of police, or because I think Chester was saying the minister was not his boss, which I couldn't quite understand that, because he said he got an appointment from the
Governor
prime
General.
minister and the signature of the governor general. So there is some tricky issues with
Our
that.
system of governance, sir. That's what
Very
I'm
Yeah,
tricky,
trying to.
Mr. Morrison. Very
yeah.
tricky, Mr. Morrison.
But I do believe as the next line command, the Minister of Police should be getting that report, and he should have been, to me, the one that was the first in line to question and to interrogate the commissioner and to demand that report from what he had saw. But he bypassed and obfuscated his responsibility.
Mr.
Chairman,
Morrison.
Mr. Chairman, may I,
I
sir?
want to say this. Mr. Morrison.
Yes, sir.
The police and the Prime Minister is in a farce. Budna's kidnapping is a international crime, sir.
I agree. I agree. I'm not disputing that.
That
I
is
think I said that many
why
times.
that is why you need external investigation.
Mr. Chairman,
Because let's not forget,
Mr. Chairman,
Belize has signed onto the international law
No. I'm not
against
so quick to
kidnapping.
Mr.
I'm not
Chairman,
so quick to bring in
like a
people into
policeman.
our business. There's no guarantee that you
It's
get the proper
international.
result.
Another
But
country is involved.
no, no,
So
no.
why
I'm
not?
saying no. I'm saying I'm not in so hurry to bring in international investigators until we see what we have, and then we could make that determination whether, in
Mr.
fact,
Morrison,
Mr.
we have
not
Chairman,
to
to
follow.
cut
We
you
have to
short,
Mr.
follow the
Chairman,
sir.
protocol,
Mr.
Mr. Brackett.
Chairman, you're not
Mr.
giving me a chance to
Morrison,
come in at the conversation,
when
man.
Mr. Budna was handed over, it cannot be
Oh,
a
man.
coincidence that the Guatemalan police would have a Manila file in his hand.
I
So
agree with you.
let's be real now. That's extrajudicial extradition. Nobody who is hurriedly turning over someone would have a file with them. So it goes beyond the police department. Go ahead, Mr.
Uh,
Brackett.
I want to go back to the fact that the separation of powers doctrine that governs our country, of which our country is used to be governed by, is not the playbook that these jackals, hyenas, and vultures are operating with. Okay? The Prime Minister is the Prime Minister of the country, but he is not supposed to be taking over the job of the DPP and deciding on behalf of the DPP what the police should do or not do with criminal files. That's the purview of the police department and the DPP. When in the history of we country, besides this particular instance, have any of us known or heard of that any of our past prime ministers have demanded the legal files from a criminal investigation for him to decide whether or not a criminal case will be prosecuted or dealt with or advised? In the first place, the Attorney General in our system has no such power to direct the DPP.
Yes, they
The
do. Yes, he
DPP.
does. Yes, he
Just a
does.
minute. Just a minute. Just a minute.
No,
I
because
stop that.
you're not telling.
But
You're not
make
telling
a
the
finish,
law.
man. Make a finish. The DPP and the Attorney General are on the same level in terms of the appointment and
No, they're not.
authority.
No,
The
they're not.
authority the authority vested in the Constitution of the DPP is
No,
not
they're
something.
not, Mr. Brackett.
Sir, read your Constitution. Learn what I'm trying to
I
say.
read my
And review
constitution.
it.
The Attorney General is the highest law enforcement officer in our
No,
country.
he
Yes.
no.
That is correct, Mr. Morrison.
He
He,
is the person that
He is
answers
to
on
make
behalf
sure all law
anything that
yes.
is
goes.
Yes.
constitutional.
Yes.
He is
Yes.
supposed to make
He's the
sure that
chief legal
sir,
enforcer.
the government, the officers of the government. Let me go directly then. The Prime Minister himself may be a suspect in this war crime. He should have no. That's why the laws are set up in that kind of way. He should not, by virtue of being the Prime Minister, have an opportunity to put his finger on the scale and determine the outcome of this case. He is a potential.
He has culpability in it. There's no
As I
doubt.
pointed out earlier, the gentleman had a beef with Mr. Budna a day and a half, probably 2 days before Mr. Budna was kidnapped. So he's a prime suspect
Mr. Brackett,
as well.
Mr. Brackett, if I may, let me say this to help you here, right? All that you have mentioned
Because I mean, help me by giving me
is
the chance to
okay,
make the
right?
statement.
But I want to say this to you. The Attorney General, who holds the highest position when it comes to law, should have been independent and his voice should have been heard on this matter.
Not
He is
acting
silent.
as
Yes.
a private
He
lawyer
is
of the Prime
silent.
Minister.
Yeah. No,
Very
I'm saying
silent.
there's a
But that's how they
failure.
are
I'm
operating.
saying
Okay.
I'm agreeing there's a
They are
failure, but
operating
I'm
like he's
telling
the
you what the
private lawyer of the
protocol
Prime
should be.
Minister. And
Gentlemen,
he cannot operate in that capacity.
gentlemen, we have come to that time, and I want to say this, why it is so out of context and out of separation of powers. Because when you look at police officer Elmer and his killings in Belmopan, he went through the right channel. His video was displayed for the whole of Belize to see. So we are dealing with a situation
Road
where
rascal.
Section 6 of our Constitution is not working. Mr. Wade, I go to you for a final comment
Thank
and a
you.
closing.
Thank you. And that what you said there just now, Mr. Chairman, should speak volume as to who are interested and who is looking on. Because there's a lot of people in this country that really is not interested in what happened to Mr. Budna based on whatever their mindset, is, right. But people have different opinions and thoughts about what had happened. But like I say, you mentioned something there that really should touch the core of this investigation and the core of what is going to show on this video. Um, Tomorrow, Tuesday, that the video should be released according to the Prime Minister, and I just hope that he knows what he's doing, right? Because once he put it out there, he cannot take it back, right? So on that note, I just hope that our program shed a little light and the things that we talk about and the things that interest us. And it's always healthy for each and every one of us to have our independent views, our own opinion. We should and we respect on this program. We respect each and everyone's opinion because we cannot all think alike. That's what makes this world so interesting, right? So on that note, I want to say thank you. Thank you, Mr. Merson.
Mr.
Thank you.
Wade, before you finish the closing, I want to say this. I
Yes, sir.
have said it before. I believe, based on what is happening, the video will not be shown because there will be a trial and it is considered evidence. You cannot put evidence out there when you intend to try defendants, whatever charge or crime it may be. The only way that video can get out there is if the civil attorneys for Mr. Budna subpoena it through the court from the government. Continue with your closing, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So right on that. And it all comes from Johnny Briceño mouth, the Prime Minister of this country, what he will do with that video. Not from my mouth. So that's why I'm just, repeating what he had said, right? So, I want to thank all those who view us and, watch us and who will view us a little later. It's always a pleasure to, come to you guys as to, what's really happening in the nation. As for me, I am mostly concerned and I'm aggrieved of what happens in the country of Belize. The outside world, you know, I'm not living there on the outside world. I lived in the country of Belize, and whatever happens in the country of Belize really 101% affects me. And I speak about these things daily. Um, and I encourage more Belizeans, more people, to speak out on issues because right now, Mr. Chairman, there's a lot of things happening in this nation that needs the attention. It needs to be brought out right to the nation and the world. A lot of things that our leaders, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Leonard and Mr. Morrison, a lot of things happen in this country that like when a fire starts and you try to throw a blanket over it to out it. A lot of that happens in the country of Belize, right? So there's a lot of little fires in this nation, called Belize that you take off that blanket and but that's why for me I always say I encourage the outside entity because the investigative entity that we have here in this country when a UDP in power, everything the UDP system does goes under the radar and not bring out, the real happenings. And for whatever reason, same thing with the PUP, right? Because the PUP set their people, the leaders of this country, they set their people in all the seats to operate. So all they do, they pull a little string, right? Both. And everything gets wiped off uncovered. If you understand what I'm trying to say, right? They set people in place to cover up their crimes. Then that's basically put it that way. On that note, it's always a pleasure to sit in your company, guys, and look forward for Wednesday night. Mr. Merson, invite you to be with us on Wednesday.
Yeah. Thank you.
If you can make it.
I just wanted to add that I hear what you said, but we do live in an interconnected world where when something happens in Washington, it affects Belize. When they make decisions in London, it affects Belize, and we saw that with the coming of those training troops to I think to kind of face off and say we still have an interest here.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir.
I think that we remain connected in consideration. We want to sort of look at it.
That's why it took Mr. Merson quickly and for clarity's sake, we are an independent nation as far as I know it, but we're still under the Commonwealth.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
So
that's
I
how
just
I
want our
understand it.
Belizean people to always remember that was promised to us. You have a problem, and quickly, Mr. Chairman, let me interject this. This thing shouldn't have been gone that far with Guatemala, this aggression. From Dean Barrow days, this thing should have been checked, right? Because that was promised to us. It's like, you have any problem out there, come to us. Guatemala, that's basically that's what the British told us when we got independent. Yeah. When Guatemala started with a foolishness, just come to us and we will help you. It had happened in 77. I was a part of that, right? Just come to we and we'll help you. It's happening again.
Mr. Wade, you was a BDF. Do you remember
I was a member of the Police Special Force, for clarity, right?
Right.
Paramilitary body. We had worked.
You remember the simple long range? Mr. Wade, do you recall the simple long range rifle the BDF used to have? The ones that have the bayonet?
I do.
We need a couple of those, and we need one of those good old ships, the frigate, the sailing one. We need to park it right out there in the front of the lighthouse and have certain people walk the plank.
Exactly. And for clarity, like I say, I was part of that aggression of Guatemala in 1977, and the other when we integrated from the Police Special Force and formed the BDF, right? So I was bear witness to both aggression from Guatemala, right? So on that note, I applaud and I'm very grateful to the British because they are the only one that is going to save us from Guatemala.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. With that said, I would like to say thank you to all of those who tune in to view us on this, our 351st edition of Belizean Affairs. And for our closing tonight, I want to end with this. Gentlemen.
One teacher teach me in a primary school that when you lose the High Court, you got a Court of Appeal. And then after Court of Appeal, you got a CCJ. The teacher never teach me that when you lose the High Court, you got to change the Constitution to make it suit you. So that's where we are with the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment is saying, hey, yo, we recognize that we failed. We recognize that legal recourse by virtue of appeal will not likely be successful because there's no evidence that you could take to the Court of Appeal that would convince those people that, oh, the SOE was properly in order, And if you do convince them, the law in the Caribbean is very clear about when you trigger SOE and the criteria. So when you go to the CCJ without any evidence, because you can't add new evidence now, you Can't change the game now. You can't say, oh, sorry, we need for giving you the insight where we never given you that the High Court. No, you can't do that. So when they would have gone to the CCJ would have ruled it how they saw it. But I think they don't see that game. You don't need law degree to realize what would have happened there. So they say we're going supermajority, let's change the law. And this is what frightens me. This is why I started with that little prose. Because today the proposal is to change the law to ratify the SOE actions. But that can be a slippery slope.
On that note, I want to say good night.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Brackett.
I would like to ask for the privilege of 30 seconds input before you put on your last music.
Go ahead, Mr. Brackett.
The bottom line of what the gentleman just addressed there just now is that even if all 31 members of our House of Representatives get together, beyond the supermajority that the current PUP have, if all 31 of them, both UDP and PUP, decide to vote for an unconstitutional law, that law, according to Section 2 of the Constitution, if it's violative of the Constitution, no care how many of them make it, it's violative of the Constitution. If it's illegal, it's illegal. If it's unlawful, it's unlawful. If it's unconstitutional, it's unconstitutional. So the fact that they can bamboozle a lot of people into believing that because they make it, turns it into, or change it from being unconstitutional to constitutional, is because those to whom they're bamboozling do not know the process, procedures, protocols, or the law process. How you make law, how the Constitution says that you make law, or modify law, or modify parts of the Constitution. There's part there that says that with a two-third or three-quarter majority, you can make modifications to certain parts of the Constitution. But there are other parts of the Constitution that are not violative, that cannot be violated, and that cannot be transgressed. You cannot turn and make, for example, get rid of the separation of powers doctrine, like what they are trying to do right now, or to get rid of the fundamental rights or the fundamental basis for the Constitution. It's impermissible. And unless people get to understand those mechanics of how these things should be, then they're easily bamboozling to believing that, well, it is what it is because somebody else say it is. That's not the way it is. The Constitution speaks for itself in those regards. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. And just for clarification, the 13th Amendment is similar to the referendum from Kikakaya. They both carry no weight.
I believe whatever that is in Kikaka is going to be illegal, unconstitutional.
Thank you, gentlemen, for sitting with me virtually. It's always a pleasure, and I hope that we can continue to do this here at Belizean Affair to help educate our Belizean people. With that said, I would like to say good night to one and all.
Good night. Great show, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.